So let's start today's session. So welcome everyone to our today's session IIC for our today's IIC event, that is how to plan for startup and legal and ethical steps. So I'm super excited to have you here, excited about all the amazing conversations that we are going to have today. So before going any further, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Abhirup Chakraborty, and I am a student of second year Civil Engineering Department of Techno India University. And I am really thankful to my professors for giving me such an opportunity to host an event like this. So now, before we begin, let me remind you of one thing. We will be recording today's session, but don't worry, this is a safe space. Here, there is no judgment, no repercussions, only unconditional love. Now, I would request our beloved Ravi Ranjan sir, IIC President of Techno India University, to start with his inaugural speech.
Thanks a lot, Abhirup. First of all, I would like to congratulate the entire IIC team on arranging this wonderful event. I think in today's world, building a startup is very, very crucial. But beyond that, it's really important to understand the legal and important aspects while you are incorporating your business. All the faculty members and the lead have put together a very wonderful show, and we are very excited to listen to our guest speaker today. But before we begin the session, I just want to wish all of you a safe stay. I hope you're taking care, washing your hands, maintaining social distancing, and whenever applicable and possible, taking the vaccine. Because once everyone is vaccinated, that's when we only will be able to end this virus. Today's session is very, very important. We have with us a very interesting name from the ecosystem, Mr. Alok Patnia. Alok is a friend and an industry veteran in the field of entrepreneurship. Alok is currently the founder of Tax Mantra, a full stack legal, accounting, and business advisory firm. He is also the founder of ProfitBoard.ai, which is a very interesting boutique investment firm. Alok has been very active in the Indian and the global startup ecosystem. He has been working with some of the biggest startups in the country, and Alok will share more about his experience. Today, Alok would be sharing his expertise and his insight on some of the most crucial aspects when we are trying to build a startup in India, and also if you're planning to expand outside. While a lot of you might not have a startup right away, but whenever you build a venture or plan to build a venture, these small but very important aspects will become very crucial, and you'll be able to learn a lot from today's session. Once again, on behalf of Techno India University, I would like to thank you, Mr. Alok Patnia, for taking out time from his busy schedule, and also congratulating the entire IIC team on organizing this wonderful session. Thank you so much. Please take it ahead from here.
So before asking Mr. Patnia to continue with his speech, I would like to say something. So basically, the man who is with us today is not an ordinary man. According to me, he's a superman and an amazing visionary. And when I say amazing, I mean it. And what's special about him is that he loves helping young adults just like you to enhance your entrepreneurship skills. He believes that the distance between you and everything you want is only one communication away. So let's welcome Mr. Alok Patnia. Mr. Patnia, it's so good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. And just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box. I'll bring them up during the question and answer session, which will be held after the presentation. Now, without any further delay, we will turn the time over to Mr. Patnia. Sir, you may continue.
Thanks, Abhirup. Great to see the energy of young students. Thanks, Ravi. Thanks, Techno India Group, for inviting me. I always love to talk to students because that's where we are building the base, we are building the pillar for the next generation. And I firmly believe that entrepreneurship and starting up is the only way wherein our country can grow and our country can become Atmanirbhar in that sense. With that background, and why do we need to start up, and why we need to be innovative, and we need to add to the economy of this country, and more so for country, for state like West Bengal, uh, we need to catch up to the rest of the India and to the world in terms of starting up and tech startups, and why India needs to produce more SaaS based product and startups. So I think with that backdrop, thanks again for inviting me, and I congratulate Techno India Group for organizing such an interesting online event. And before I start my presentation, I would like to request everyone that please be safe and don't venture out of your home unnecessarily, and keep the hygiene part at number one priority, and try to learn about entrepreneurship while you are at home. We never got 1 year, 15 months, 18 months, no one asking us in terms of what we are doing. We don't need, so we never got so much of time when we were young to ponder on our career, to think about, to go deep into in terms of what we want to do of our life. I mean, if you ask me that if I turn 18 for a week, what would I want? And I would say that maybe I would have started earlier, and I would have done things little differently. So I think in our life, when you start running your startup on a day-to-day basis, it becomes very difficult to sit with peace of mind and ponder in terms of where you are going wrong, and what you need to do. So I think students and everyone, but mostly students, are getting a lot of time when they are at home, and to think about their future. And in fact, the kind of digital power which we have, and I believe that the tech adaptability and has been accelerated by a decade, if not by two, because of pandemic, and people are using technology and digital platform for each and every aspects of life. And with data penetration which we have post geo, post 2017 18, I think every student should think about doing one small pilot project, one small startup while in pandemic. It can be a blog, it can be anything which creates value, and you get an aspect, because at the student time you do not get 1 year, 15 months to do a pilot or to run a pilot startup. I think that's a great opportunity which all of the students are getting, which we never got. With that thought process, let me share my screen. So I need to be enabled for the screen sharing, because I will just share the deck which I have for today's session, if you can allow me. That's fine. I can use the deck otherwise also. So today, while we are discussing in terms of why we should start, and why we should start early, and why more and more students should think about entrepreneurship, and why pandemic has helped you to do a pilot entrepreneurship maybe for 15 months, 18 months, and see something. Yesterday, I got a very interesting email wherein a person said that, see, my 12 exams are cancelled, and for the next 1 year I don't have anything to do. I just need to apply for colleges, and I don't see that for next at least 6 8 months. So can I do something? Can I work in your organization? I need to learn how startups work. I mean, that's a great idea. So why don't students try and see that if they can work online for 6 8 months in a startup, and understand how a startup is being run. So let's first discuss about top legal issues why startups fail. When you start, the first thing you need to understand is what kind of entity you need to select, because entity is very important. You have to select the right entity when you're starting. So is it a private limited company, or is it an LLP? The second thing which is so critical is to understand that depending your business model, depending the industry which you are catering to, which geography will best suit you in terms of global destination, and from where you should start, and which geography will have the ability. For instance, most of the health tech startups and the kind of innovative products which they have, Israel and US have much more acceptability compared to uh, our country. So I think that's so important. The third point is in terms of understanding. So when you start and you have a business model, you should understand the viability of that business model, in the sense that whether this model is legal, whether this model is permissible in India, what are the licenses which are required in the business model of the startup you are doing, whether what are the registrations which you would require at the central government level, at the state government level. For instance, tomorrow you say, okay, I love cryptos, I want to do a startup in crypto, but you have to analyze and understand whether
Excuse me,
that.
sir. Sir, sorry for this interruption. I think now you can share your screen. You just.
Yeah, okay, no, not a problem. Yeah, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think determining the which permit and licenses or registrations you will need to run your business, that is very important. You should not waste 6 months down the line and then you realize that the business model which you are thinking about is not permitted in India. So I think these are the four main points when you start up, in terms of choosing the right entity, in terms of choosing the right destination, in terms of having the right structure, and in terms of licenses which you require. I think if we move ahead and see what are the next things which we need to understand, a survey said that 7 out of 10 startups fail because they do not plan their taxes and finance properly. uh, as I told you that many of the startups, at mostly at the student level, they have an idea, they want to work on that idea, but they realize later that that idea is not permittable in India. Then what do you do? So you have to do lot of initial uh, research and initial time spent to understand whether that business model is allowed or not, or if how do you structure that business model. These are the some of the tax and legal compliances which you need to do, uh, and compliances you need to do, and these compliances will help you to ensure that your startup is on the right track. The second and third point is so critical, and I faced this problem so many times in my advisory career, is the right arrangement and agreement with your founder. Now when you are starting your business, you will see that many of your friends come together and they want to start with you. But are you all on the same page in terms of what you are doing? What are your roles and responsibilities as founders? What one of the founders will do in terms of the roles and responsibilities? That is so important. So it is very important that you document the founders' roles and responsibilities in terms of what founder will do what kind of stake or the equity or the ownership that founder will have. That is so important, because maybe one founder will bring in money also and will also work. One founder will only work but will not bring in equity. The third founder might be working somewhere else and he will be spending only 2 3 hours in a day. Then what do you do? So you should have the right founders agreement to enlist all those terms and conditions before you start, so that in future there are no complications and your relationship is secured. Just a second. I think there's some work going on. I will just tell them not to do it. Just a second. My apologies. So what I was saying is that founders agreement is very critical. And moving forward, when you talk about the IP structure and choosing the right IP, brand name, in terms of domain name, these are so important aspects when you start up. You choose a name and you realize 3 months down the line that that name is already registered by a large company or a listed company or somewhere on this planet. Now, what do you do? Because choosing the right name and choosing the right brand and choosing the right domain is something which you cannot change later. It's a very painful exercise to change. If you have run a business for 2 years, 3 years, now at the time of raising capital, when your investor says that no, this brand or this name will not work because there is a startup somewhere and which does the same thing, and there may be some legal issues later, what do you do? So choosing the right name, trademark it properly, right domain is so important, and you should think about these things, and these things doesn't take a lot of time or money. You can do a smart Google search, or you can ask some of your friends who understands the IP law to go on the trademark website and check it. And one more thing which uh, which is so important. So there was a case study, I remember 6 7 years back, wherein someone started a business and they booked the domain, and they asked their service provider to book the domain, and they didn't realize that the domain was still owned by that service provider. So initially people just book domain and they don't realize in whose name the domain is needs to be booked. And after 6 years, they realize that the startup has become big. Now that service provider says that I will not transfer this domain unless and you compensate with me with a good handsome amount of money. So I think you know understand that domain name has to be day one in your name. Let's move ahead and talk about the next thing. Uh, I think this is also very important, and so I say that if it's always good that one of your co-founders is from finance field. I mean, if you are lucky that if you are one of your co-founders are from finance field, then that person will have some basic idea, and it's easier for him either to choose the right advisor or to do most of the things initially in-house. So and I've seen the standard mistakes which startups would do in terms of they don't have the right contract, the NDAs or the data protection policies are not there within the framework. Employees are not been given the right offer letter, and you commit something to an employee that I will give you this much of equity in the company, this much of ESOP, but you don't know whether the how do you implement those policies and those ESOPs, employee contracts, vendor contracts. So I think you need to have someone to bank on when you get into these things. Now we will discuss about some of the ethical issues why startups fail. Uh, just a second. So I have a very, I'm trying to keep it very simple and short so that we can spend most of the time on Q&A, because I have realized whenever I talk to students, there are a lot of Q&As, and that really helps students to understand the aspects. So in terms of employee consideration and welfare, talk to your customers, talk about what kind of feedback they have. Labor law is so important, and you should have the right structure around the labor law. If you are into something which relates to environment, then you have to think about what kind of environment policies you have which are sustainable. You have the right licenses around that. uh, some of the more ethical which are not mentioned here, which I can narrate now, which I can talk about, is in terms of how do you book your expenses. You should ensure that only business expenses are booked in the startups. So I think these are the top challenges uh, these are the things which you need to keep in mind. So let me summarize. There are 4 5 main things if I want to tell you when you're a startup. One is choose the right entity. Second, in terms of do a self survey, try to understand what are the rules and regulations, registrations which are required for your startup, be it state government, central government, and there can be some global registrations also, global policy framework also, like GDPR. The second is in terms of create a co-founder agreement and list down all the activities, roles, responsibilities, equity stake, lock-in period in terms of and make it a watertight case. Third is in terms of having a right your legal partner, and to ensure that you are covering the compliance, all the compliance structure and compliance requirement which is there in your startup. And then we talk about the IP and trademark and domain. That is so important because you get very emotional when you buy a domain or you book a name. So that is something which is important. I think these are the 4 5 things which I can talk about, and I have summarized in a way. Uh, and I'm open to Q&A and want to understand from students in terms what are their queries and how and what are the areas where they want to start up.
Abhinav, can you
Well, thank
take
you.
on the session? Yes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Patnia, for giving us such an insight regarding the ethical, ethical and legal acts regarding startups, and I think it will be helpful for all of us. So presently, we will go ahead and take some time for questions now. Just a reminder, please be sure to type your questions into the question box in your control panel. So the question and answer session has just started. So please type your questions in the chat box, and I'll read it out to Mr. Patnia. It looks like we have a question from Shayun Das. It's what should be the foremost thing to look for when pitching your idea to investors?
So there are two questions. Let me first answer, Sen. So I think, Sen, I understand that when you are pitching to the investor, you will be pitching at an early stage because as a startup and you will be pitching at a very early stage. So there are couple of things which are so critical when you are pitching at early stage, and it can be pre-revenue or post-revenue. The most important thing is that you should have a MVP. The full form of MVP is that minimum viable product. So you have actually tasted, you have done the survey, and you have confirmed that the idea which you have can be monetized and can be converted into a business idea. See, the biggest challenge when someone would start is that someone would say, okay, this is the problem which I want to solve, but how do I solve that problem? Okay, this is the solution which I think is will solve this problem. Okay, that's fine. But now that solution which you have found, which will solve that problem, is that solution can be converted into a business idea, whether that can be converted into a monetized idea. Can you actually make money out of it? Number one. Number two, if you are able to make money out of it, what is the size of the market you are addressing? Is it India? Is it only West Bengal? It is Eastern India, or is it Southeast Asia? How is this? What's size of the market you are addressing to? The third problem, the third thing which the startup would see is that what is the experience of the founders? I mean, what they have done in the past and how much they have spent time to understand that this idea will work. The fourth thing is the founding team. Does the founding team has the right experience to scale that idea? And the last point is in terms of the unit economics, whether that idea is viable from a unit economic perspective. So I think these are the things which you need to keep in mind. That is one thing. The second thing is that you also have to choose in terms of which are the investors who would be able to fund in money into your startup. Are they so different investors invest at a different size and different time of a startup. I think I can talk more on the funding. I will just see whether someone would ask me any question on funding. Otherwise, I will say what I want to say at that point of time.
So it looks like we have another question that we have is from Siddharth Suman. So he is basically asking you about the difference between an investor and shareholders.
So investor is a person who is investing in the company, who is not a founder, who is not from the founding team, who is actually putting in money in the company and not responsible for the day-to-day running of the company. That person is investor. So if you on Monday you go to any of the trading platform and you buy 10,000 shares of Reliance Industries, then you are an investor in that company. All the investor will become shareholder, but all shareholders may not be the investor, in the sense that a founder may not be the investor. He may not be putting the money in the company initially. So the investor is the person who may not be responsible for day-to-day running of the company, but he puts in money in the company. Shareholder includes everyone: investor, non-investor, founder, promoter, everyone.
So thank you, sir. Thank you so much. But and it will be a request from my side that you said that you will be like to continue with the topic of pitching our idea to the investors. So will you kindly continue with that one?
Yeah, so what I was saying is that you should choose the right investor. That is so important. Some investors put in money at an early stage. Some investors put in money at the idea stage. 90% of the investors put in money only after you have MVP and you have passed the idea and you have revenue. So choosing the right investor is number one. Number two is that you should feel that equity is the most valuable thing. Your shares are the most valuable thing in the company. And when you raise capital very initially, because initially fools, family and friends put in money in you, then the angel investors come in and then the larger investors come in. So when you take money from your friends, families, or maybe angel investor, don't dilute more than 15-18% of the company. Don't give 20 more than 15% of a company to the investors. I have seen people diluting 40% equity at the start of the company, because if you do that, then you are actually blocking the road map for the next set of large investors coming in. Also, don't start to raise capital. Don't start to raise capital, but raise capital to scale your business. Reach somewhere in next 15, 18, 20 months, depending on the business model of your startup. It should not be that from day one you should start thinking about raising capital, but because you have to travel that experience of building a startup before you approach the investor.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for giving us such a good insight regarding this topic. Let's see whether there are any more questions or not.
There is one more question from anonymous attendee. He asks, when an investor invested
Yes.
money in starting phase for the company, is that investor is 100%? See, it depends how you are raising capital. If you are raising capital as debenture or convertible notes, you are not giving equity initially, then that person may not be a shareholder initially. But 99% of the times you have to give equity. So it's not wrong to say that all the investors do become shareholder in the company.
Hope sir, hope sir was able to clear your doubt. Thank you so much, sir. I can see one. There's one more question from Adarsh Tripathi, I think. Apart from a rock solid plan of a startup, how to manage teamwork?
I think plan can never be rock solid, uh, because execution becomes rock solid. Plan uh, is something which if you are not executed is best to be is of no use. And teamwork is most important. Building the right team is so important. And when you build the right team, you need to find people who understands and who connects with the idea of the startup, who connects with the future of the startup, and who connects with your dream of building something which will change lives of people around you. Now, how do you do that? You have to narrate your story. So as a founder, you have to be a great storyteller. If you are not able to narrate your story, or if you are not able to convince people to stick with you, because initially you will not have the money which a large organization can pay. The only thing which you have, the dream, and a promise that you will ensure that people who work with you, when the startup will become, they will also become part of the growth story.
Okay, sir, thank you. And over here, Chitradeep Shah has asked a question like how we can income through investing.
I didn't understood that question.
Like he wants to say that how can we money, make money in stock market? Like
Oh,
I think
you're
he
talking about
wants to know
stock
that
market.
how can we do this properly.
If you're talking about stock market is an ocean which no one has understood. Even we all are learning every day. I think this is not the right platform to understand, but there are a lot of trainings which are going online. Understand that, spend time, burn your hand with a small amount of money, then only you will understand. Sayan is asking what to do if the future board member of my own company tried to kick me out. Uh, See, you have to have the right agreement and see what kind of control aspects you are giving in the to your investors in the company. Now, if you are giving controls which will not allow you to operate on a day-to-day basis, then it becomes difficult. That's the reason I said some time back also that it's always very important that you choose the right investor, investors who are seasoned investors, and not investors who are new to startup ecosystem. In 1 week, 2 week, in 1 month they would start asking for profits, business reports, they will hassle you. I mean, that is not the investor you should have. So the first thing is to choose the right investor. Second thing, choose the right lawyer who can help you to build the right agreement for you, so that if thing doesn't work out, you have the agreement which can help you.
So there's another question from Adarsh. So he's asking which are the other means of investing money other than stock market?
Others, even I would want to learn that, uh, uh, on a lighter note. Uh, I think we are restricting our session to entrepreneurship, uh, and this question is actually not applicable. It's very difficult to answer what are the other means of investing money other than stock market. I mean, uh, are you a startup entrepreneur who want to start up, student, or you are an investor? If you're an investor, then I think this is not the right platform. You should have to uh, uh, get that knowledge from somewhere else, because that is something which is can be discussed later. Anonymous attendees again asking making a product which is absolutely needed by a small group of people, or making a product which targets a large number of people but they might need it. uh, See, you have to see the size of market. That is very important. uh, and the size of market, and also how much money or how much ticket size you can have from the customer base. For example, B2B SaaS as a business is still not working in India because small and medium sized businesses are not ready to pay for software as a service, but that becomes a big market in US. So you have to understand that which is the market, which is the best market and audience which you are trying to cater to. That is number one. Number two, uh, investors will always want to have you at addressing large market, because then only they can scale. And their role when they want to invest in your startup is they want to have 40, 50, 100x of the money which they have startup invested. So if you do not cater to large market, then it becomes a challenge.
So now another question from Shayan. So Shayan wants to know, like, what should I keep in mind when I do a startup on a product that I have not done a course or degree on? Example, I'm a mechanical engineer and I want to do a startup in the food industry. Well, it's quite interesting.
Mm, See, these days you can learn everything on Google. Let me first tell you this. When I started Tax Mantra is the leader in online tax solutions. When we started in 2010, there were no other website other than the income tax website which was providing tax solutions. I am a chartered accountant. I didn't know anything about building a website, WordPress, Facebook ads. I learned everything myself, because if you do not know the basics of what how to run a startup, uh, third people or your vendors or your partners may not be able to add the right value. So I think in today's world, if you are passionate enough, you will learn it. If you are passionate enough uh, about the food industry, you will learn it. A degree is secondary. Degree is not important to my mind. In fact, in our organization, we do not have any importance or preference for a degree. Let me tell you, because in fact, uh, the more studied you are, the highest degree you have, the more I would say your mind is already wired to think to that extent only. And if you are not wired from that perspective, you can think aloud. So I think uh, degree is not important. Passion is important, and how you want to build your startup is important. What problem you are solving is important. uh, then the second question comes in from,
Devasmita.
yeah, how to learn,
Devasmita, sorry. Yeah.
yeah, how to learn different intricacies of different businesses like business plan, accounts. You have to, so there's no short answer to these things. If you are from finance field, or if you understand finance, or if you are from a business family, then it becomes easier to you to learn these things. If you're not, then you have to learn over a period of time. As I said, that you read a lot, discuss, talk to, create a group of young entrepreneurs around you, talk to them how they are solving those problems. Google a lot, understand, read on internet in terms of what is the best entity, what are the best ways. uh, Talk to a lawyer, see if you have some startup friendly advisors who will not charge you a lot, but can help you. Talk to your friends and family if someone is from finance, to see if they can help you. I think that those are the ways you can build that information over a period of time.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And if any one of you wants to ask any more questions, you are free to ask. And we are left with a very few, we are not left with a lot of time right now. Its time is running. Only 13 minutes are left for this session. So if you are any question to sir, you may ask. there's a question from Shayon again. So he's saying that suppose in a real estate business, should I be renting houses myself and after that renting the same to others, or should I take a home loan, buy a house, renovate it, and put it on rent and continue this chain?
We can take it offline. Need to understand more about your business plan, what you are actually trying to do. Uh, because renting house yourself, I mean, exactly what you're doing, we need to understand. Then I can answer and solve this problem. So you can note down my email ID and mail me and see if I can answer that.
Any more questions? Please feel free to ask it in the question and answer box. Please feel free, because we are not left with a lot of time right now, and I I wish I wish to see that all of you are having no doubts after this session. All of you are having a crystal clear idea regarding startup after this session. So please feel free to ask the questions. A question from anonymous attendee. So, according to Paul Graham, the co-founder of seed capital firm Y Combinator, the best startup ideas are a combination of something the founder wants and what he can build himself. So, what are the advantages of choosing a problem you have yourselves?
I think if you choose a problem which you are self facing, the biggest advantage is that you are emotionally connected to this problem. So you can actually feel that problem yourself. And when you are emotionally connected to a problem, you will be able to find the right solutions. That is an advantage. However, there are many problems which many of the entrepreneurs have solved on this planet, wherein they have not been directly impacted. So it always helps when the problem is you are being faced that problem, but that's not the only way. But yeah, it helps. It helps if you are yourself. But then, yeah. So for example, Elon Musk was not facing any problem to travel to Mars, but he still invented SpaceX. So I think solving problem and uh, being passionate about that problem. How do you solve that problem, and how do you change life? How do you change life of people around you? That is so important. I think that is that. So these two three combinations put together, having problem, emotionally connected to that problem, trying to solve that problem at a large scale, and changing the lives of people around you, so that by solving that problem.
Thank you so much, sir. So it looks like we have covered all of your questions. So, Mr. Patnia, is there anything else you wanted to cover before a wrap up?
I think it's a very long subject, uh, starting up mostly at the student, and since students do not have the practical exposure of running an entrepreneurship, they would have more questions. So it's very difficult to cover in one session, but I think we have covered most of the things, and I'm happy to answer a couple of more queries if are there.
Yes, sir. So Adarsh is asking one question: is in a startup, experimenting and implementing are two different aspects. As experimenting is failing many times, and implementing is one shot going process. How to implement an idea thoroughly? Sir, am I audible to you?
Yeah, you're audible.
So Adarsh is asking that
So
in a startup experiment.
these are so these are something which are which you have to do once you start implementing. So implementing and experimenting in a startup is not two processes, because you implement and you experiment both by giving a solution to a consumer or customer. So I think both the things needs to be done parallelly. You develop a product, you develop a tech product, you experiment it, you implement, and then you experiment, you implement, and then you experiment, because all of the tech products, that's how evolve organically.
And Shayan's question is that what should be a CEO's response when he or she has to unfortunately fire an employee without any damage in their professional relationship?
let's
Like,
let's
how
let's
should
talk
he or she break the news?
let's talk positivity. I think Sayan is too much into how CEOs are not to be fired. Maybe we need to understand why he is asking these kind of questions again and again. But there are uh, this is very much part of life, and CEO is no one but an employee of the company, and you have to be careful in terms of how you have the agreement, how you are handling the day-to-day affair of the company, uh, and not really look about and think negative on all these things.
One more question from anonymous attendee. He wants to know about some good books regarding starting up a.
I think there are many books, uh, and one of the book which I really like, which is at which will help to answer most of your early stage entrepreneurship question is hardest things about hard things. You should Ben Howard's it. You should really read this book. This book is something which is good for everyone. I can also just message it, and I will just chat, put it in everyone, and you should read this book. There are many books, but I think this is one of the good books which I have read.
So thank you, sir. So we won't entertain any more questions right now, as we are about to wrap up today's session. So before wrapping it up, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the university management and the director, madam, for supporting and encouraging us to organize this kind of event. I would like to thank the IIC President Ravi Ranjan sir for his wholehearted support in the IIC journey. Now, I would like to thank the expert speaker for the day, Mr. Alok Patnia, for sharing his expertise through such beautiful talk and deep insight of the topic. I would thank to the faculty members who are involved in organizing such an interesting event. Last but not the least, thanks to all the participants who have joined today and make this event successful. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Okay,
Thank you,
so
everyone. Thanks for the opportunity.
thank you, sir. This is Dr. Devashish Das, member of this from the organizing team. So I'd like to thank you again for sharing all these concepts and giving your valuable time with us. Thank you, sir. So
Thank you.
Okay, sir. And at last, I would like to thank our Mr. Abhiru for conducting this session so nicely. Thank you, Abhiru.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving me such an opportunity to host a program like this, and that also in the second year of BTech. And I'm really very grateful to attend this session with Mr. Alok Patnia. And sir, for your and one more information one more thing I would like to share with you is that I am also a co-founder of a startup organization, which is preparing portable isolation rooms for COVID patients. And we have presently cleared the final round of National Innovation Contest. So this station was really helpful for me to work effectively in our project and in our startup. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. All the best to your future entrepreneurship endeavors. And I wish everyone all the best. Stay safe. Let's learn more while we are at home so that we are better prepared for this world. Thanks, everyone. Take care of yourself and have a nice weekend to all the students and professors and faculty. And thanks again to the Techno India group. Thanks, Ravi, also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So before wrap up this session, this is an announcement for all the attendees. I have given a feedback link in the chat box. Please fill this feedback, and by within 1 week, you will be getting your certificates in your registered mail ID. Thank you, everyone.